Hi, today we're going to talk about science and social studies for kindergartners and curriculum that you can use. I don't know if you necessarily need a curriculum to follow, but I will give you a couple of ideas of things that I give to the families that I work with, and that might give you some confidence and help you get started. There's a book called Five in a Row, and what that book does is takes a picture book, say the story of Ping, and has you read it for 5 days. And on the first day, you might focus on where the book takes place. Maybe the next day, you focus on foods that ducks are in. I don't know. And then maybe some geography or some science. Maybe you talk about water and things. But there are activities that go with the book that you read every day. Now, I some of the families that I work with don't really like reading the book for 5 days, but it at least gives you a jumping off point, and you can try it and see if you like that. So if you want something to follow, then I recommend 5 in a row. All right. So I don't know if you really need to start formal history teaching to a 5-year-old. But if you want to, then there are 2 books I'll recommend. One is called The Story of the World. I tend to like my families to wait until their 1st or 2nd grade before starting that. But if you want a history book, then that's a good one to start with. And then another one that kind of along those same lines is called A Child's History of the World. Now, A Story of the World, it has a big fat activity book that you can buy that goes along with it, which again is kind of like 5 in a row, gives you activities to do with each of your readings. So you can read and have fun with the lesson, or you can just simply breeze through the book and read it just for fun. You don't have to do any of the activities, but if you want to, there are some suggestions there. Okay, so now for history or for social studies is kind of what I like my families to focus on. And for social studies for a 5 and 6-year-old, we kind of need to help them focus on their place in the world. And so that begins with the family, and maybe talk about families, talk about a family tree, make a family tree, put it on the wall, spend some time with that. And then go just outside of that to your neighbors and your neighborhood. And one thing that we would do is engage with our neighbors in making cookies or muffins, or pull up their trash cans, or do things for our neighbors that would help us connect with the people that we live nearby. And once you've done your neighbors, then you can go just a little bit bigger to your neighborhood or your community. Who are the people in your community? And that is when you get to learn about the post office, and you write a letter and mail it to yourself. How fun is that? Or mail it to grandma and see how fast it gets there. And go to the gas station, and you can ask people, you can even develop some questions that your child can ask them if they want to, like, do you like your job, and how long you've been working here, and what kind of things do you do? But you introduce them to people in the community and jobs in the community, and you can spend the whole year just doing this, learning about different occupations. And of course, there's always the standards, the dentist and the firemen and the policemen. So definitely you need to take them to the fire station and to the police station and to these different places that maybe not the police station. I've never gone there. That might be something to try. But anyway, take them out in the community and use words like occupation and talk to them about those kinds of things. So for social studies, I really just like them to focus on where they live, who they are in their own family, and start history that way. And then, of course, you can talk about, too, the symbols, our national symbols, and discuss the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance and those kinds of things, because it's important that they know what that means. So social studies, you got a whole curriculum just focusing on who they are, their family tree, and those kinds of things. Also, for my kinders, for the ones that I work with, I like parents to teach them a new chore every month. And ours would be, of course, the simple sweeping and washing dishes, unloading the dishwasher, those kinds of things. And then we had to morph up to something different. So it was, okay, learn to vacuum out the car and wash a window and, smash bugs or whatever. I don't know. Just different chores around the house. That's definitely falls underneath that heading of social skills or social studies and teaching them how to be a good citizen and how to care for people. This is an awesome thing that if you could teach your children to love people and care for them, that's a wonderful skill. Okay, so now that's social studies. I love it. It's very fun. Incorporate that in your day. Okay, but now science. Science is so fun and it can be so easy. It can be so hard for some parents. They don't like it because it takes a little bit of work. But what I like my families to do when they do science is to actually do nature studies. And so for that, I want these children to go outside every day and they're very close to the ground. Have them look at those bugs and watch them and be able to name the ant and the pill bug and the roly-poly and a worm and investigate and see what it is those things do. I like them to get the butterfly kits and the ant farm and do those kinds of things where they get to learn about butterflies and the ants. I think it's important that they just spend time digging in the dirt. So as science for kinders, I like them to start a garden or plant some flowers and be responsible for growing those flowers.